More Earth Science coming at you. This is Norris Teaches Science with another Earth Science Edition video starring me, Mr. Norris. And today we're going to talk about sustainability. And so your goal today is I can explain the basic concepts to quantify human use of the planet. So when we look at quantifying it, we're going to look at something called the ecological footprint. And this is the measure of the human demand on Earth's ecosystems. So it tracks how much land and water an area a human population uses. And there's a way that you can measure up your ecological footprint for yourself. There's plenty of websites out there that you can go do that. So that's one thing that you should probably do is see how much what your ecological footprint is. Now, do we fit on this planet? Does humanity fit on this planet? Technically, no. Humanity uses the equivalent of 1.5 planets to provide the resources we use and absorb our waste. I, that's weird to say. We need another half planet to really keep us on this planet, but we live here every day. I know that's really weird to understand. What that means, it takes the Earth a year and 6 months to regenerate or produce back everything that we used in a year. So it takes over a year and a half to get back what we used yesterday. Now, when you talk about ecological footprint, you can also talk about your carbon footprint. It's the amount of carbon in tons being emitted by an activity or an organization. I read a interesting article that said that Justin Timberlake, if you don't know who he is, go Google him. For every concert he places on, he figures out the carbon footprint. So he's really trying to protect the earth, or at least know what he's causing. Now, footprints and biodiversity. What the ecological footprint does can indicate what type of pressures are on the ecosystem. Is it for food? Is it for land? Is it for water? What pressures are going on in the ecosystem around the person's ecological footprint? Now, when we think of sustainability and we think of saving the planet, don't forget about the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Um, and in sense, reduce is the best of the three. Why? Because less resources needed and used is better. The less you need, the more there will be out there. Recycling still requires energy usage, and so does reusing. You still have to use resources to reuse. You still have to use resources to recycle. But if you reduce, you're lowering how much of those resources you need. And conservation, I kind of mentioned it before. Conservation is the careful use of resources, which means applying all 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Be careful of how much water you use, how much land you use, how much you throw away. For me, in my apartment, I live alone in a 2 bedroom, 1 bath apartment. I maybe throw away 2 trash bags full of trash a week. Maybe not even that. Some weeks it's one, some weeks it's two. It just depends. Maybe 1.5. So watch how much you throw away, how much you're using. Only buy what you really need. If you're not using something, donate it, give it to someone, sell it, something like that, so someone else who actually needs it uses it. Like clothing. If you're not buying clothes, donate. If you're not wearing clothes, or if clothes don't fit you anymore, donate them. That's one way we can conserve resources so we don't have to keep making clothes. So how can you save energy? How can you conserve energy? How can you be stewards of the earth, make it better? Recycle when possible. Let the sun in on bright winter days to warm the room instead of using your heat. I don't really turn lights on in my apartment until it gets closer to dark, or if it's an area that there's really not many windows. I open up my blinds, my shades, and I let the daily light into my apartment to save on using energy. And when you become an adult, you learn how you need to save energy. You kids need to stop turning on every light in the house. I'm talking to you, my nieces and nephews. Um, Use energy saving fluorescent bulbs. Um, Turn off or plug in or unplug items when you're not going to use them. When I take trips, I unplug almost everything from the outlets that I don't need to have in the outlets to save energy, like my TV or um, my game systems, stuff like that. Walk or ride a bike when you can. It's really hard where I live. I live in the rural areas. It's really hard to walk places or to ride a bike everywhere, especially when there's major highways I would have to cross. So it's hard to do that, but walk or ride a bike when you can. When I lived in a city and we were going to the local park, which was right at the end of the street, we just had to cross another street. We didn't drive there. We walked. It was part of the day. And also find and use Energy Star products. These are products that have been tested to conserve energy. But there's multiple things that you can do to save energy, be stewards of the earth, be sustainable. Go out there, learn how you can change up what you do in your daily life so that you are saving the planet. But I hope you learned something in this video today. I'm Mr. Norris, and I'm out for this video.